Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What if you laughed all through your commute? Or if you heard the funniest story while at the gym? Well, now you can. I'm Jamila Jamil, and guests on my new podcast, Wrong Turns, share their most mortifying and hilarious disaster stories. I'm talking people like Mae Martin, Bob the Drag Queen, Katherine Ryan, Jake Johnson, Margaret Cho, Simon Pegg, Penn Badgley, and so many more. So listen wherever you get your podcast, Wrong Turns, where dignity goes to die.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com. Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, I'm Pace Case.
And I'm Bachelor Clues.
We host Game of Roses, the world's best reality TV podcast. We're covering every show in reality TV at the highest level possible. We analyze The Bachelor, Love is Blind, Perfect Match, Vanderpump, and anything else you find yourself watching with wine and popcorn.
We break down errors, highlight plays, MVPs, and all the competitive elements that make reality TV a sport. And we interview superstar players like Bachelorette Caitlin Bristow and Big Brother champion Taylor Hale.
If you want to know so much about reality TV, you can turn any casual conversation into a PhD level dissertation. You definitely want to check out Game of Roses.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
All right, we are live.
Welcome to this week's episode of Movie in the Pod. My name is Clyde Smith.
I'm Javier Villalobos.
Guys, before we jump into this week's movie, we definitely want to talk about the trailer that dropped this weekend. Javi, wow.
Definitely. That's the only word I could think of as well.
I mean, we're about to get, in a month's time, Zack Snyder's 4-hour Snyder cut of Justice League. It looks like he threw literally everything that's on the editing floor. He just picked it up and pieced it together. We also get Black Suit Superman. Pretty excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. So we'll definitely have to see how we can do a pod on a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, that could be a two-parter. That's not unheard of.
Well, there was reports that Zach was going to do like it in 1-hour episodes on HBO Max, but I think there was some backlash about it. Everybody was like, "Just give me the whole 4 hours at one time." So he said, "Okay."
Well, that's where we're at right now. You know, we don't want to wait around. It's for cable people. You know.
We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. This week we are dissecting and have the conversation about the 1996 classic Swingers.
Oh, yeah. This thing was released on October 18th, like you said, in 1996. And it was written by our man, Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau, the Mandalorian. Man.
The, start to the Marvel franchise as well.
Yeah,
with our boy RDJ. Jesus.
We can't get away from this guy.
Something always links back to him. Jesus.
Always. So we have Jon Favreau. He wrote this movie, and he actually got Doug Liman to direct it. Doug Liman, you'll know, he directed the Bourne Identity, was producer on all the other ones, also directed Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So this movie stars Jon Favreau as Mike Peters, struggling comedian in New York City. You also have Vince Vaughn as Trent Walker, Ron Livingston as Rob, Patrick Van Horn as Sue.
Got some others in there as well. We have Alex Desert as Charles. We have the talented Heather Graham as Lorraine. Mm-hmm. And we have Brooke Langston as Nikki. Javi, what other movies came out here in 1996?
96 had all kinds of movies coming out.
Some of the best.
Some of the best ones. A few I put down: Mars Attacks, Independence Day, Twister, Happy Gilmore, and The Cable Guy, amongst a bunch.
Oh yeah, we also had Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet with Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio. We had A Time to Kill. We had Jack and Space Jam. So we had some great movies in 1996 there. So
this was a very indie, low budget film with a budget of $200,000.
oh yeah.
But the box office on this thing was 4.6 million.
Yeah, which definitely crushed at the box office for a movie with this low of a budget, especially in '96 with movies like Mars Attack, Independence Day, The Rock, which have like millions and millions of dollars. Javi, go ahead and break this down. What's this movie about before we jump in?
So the basic plot of the movie is we got a struggling actor, Mike, comedian. He's attempting to get over a breakup. His boys take him out to Vegas. They go out to bars, restaurants, parties in order to meet new women to help them move on.
Oh, yeah. Guys, this is a really good indie film from 96, like we said. Right now, you can actually stream this on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Javi, you just ready to go ahead and jump in?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So this movie opens up with swing dancing music, big band music, and beautiful pictures of the Hollywood, California night scene. All these bands playing, all these clubs, these bars and bartenders and beautiful people and beautiful babies just having a fantastic time, right?
That's the cringiest term of this whole movie.
It really is, though. But I'm going to use it over and over.
Yeah, we got to do it.
All right. So after the opening credits with the music and the pictures, we see Mike and Rob at a diner talking about what Mike always seems to talk about is his recent breakup there. He's from New York, and his girlfriend Michelle's from New York, and they broke up, and he moved out to California, been in California for 6 months, kind of struggling. And they're just kind of talking, and Rob goes, "You know, man, it's all good, bro. You will eventually get over her." And they just have a conversation at a diner about it. So
he says, "You know, you'll start pretending that you forgot about her, and then eventually you'll forget about her. And they always know not to come back until you forget about them, and then you don't want them anymore." So that was the rub. There's the
rub, guys. So this movie, as low budget it is, it's chock full of one-liners, chock full of quotes. Just a fantastic movie with great actors here. So
Mike gets back to his apartment after meeting with Rob, and he's listening to his answer machine. He's waiting on his ex-girlfriend to call him. So every day he gets home, he checks his answer machine. Trent calls him, asks him about the breakup. A couple of his other friends call about it, and his grandma calls about trying to find out if he got the part in a series or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then the machine starts talking to him. He says, she doesn't deserve you. There's plenty of fishing to see. And then Trent calls him about wanting to go out and do this or that or the other. So he gives Trent a call back, and they start talking about going out looking for beautiful babies for the night.
and this is a really cool scene. Mike he's down on his luck, right? He's not doing great out there in California. He's been out there for 6 months. Thinks he's supposed to be already on a sitcom making all these millions of money and everything. And Mike lays out the entire night, says we're going to drive from this location to this location, wasting a bunch of gas, right? We're going to go to this party with all these, he uses the term skanks, nasty skanks surrounded by drunk assholes, right? He goes, he basically saying we do the same thing every weekend night, guys.
He goes to one party, that party sucks. So they go to the next party, and that party's going to suck. All the parties in the bars suck. Oh, man. So then Trent changes the subject and says, I'm talking about Vegas. Let's go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Mike goes back and forth with him about not wanting to go to Vegas, this, that, or the other. And then, of course, he agrees to go to Vegas that night. Peer pressure.
The next scene is Trent and Mike in this soft top convertible driving to Vegas. Mike's in this dope suit, tie, ready to be a high roller. Trent is just played by Vince Vaughn, is just in like his regular clothes, and Mike's counting out the money while Trent is driving, and they're trying to figure out, what's going to be our move, man. We're going to be a beautiful bunch of babies. They're going to give us the high roller suite, right? All this shit is going through their head about what's going to happen when they're going to Vegas. Mind you, it's after 10 o'clock right now, okay?
Yeah. So, like you said, Mike has his dope suit on. Trent doesn't have his suit on. Mike gets very aggravated at this. And Trent just tells him, okay, well, I'm going to put my suit on right now. Grab the wheel. And they're super excited. They're, Vegas, baby. And then it speeds up like maybe a few minutes later to where they're just still sitting in the car driving because they're so far away from Vegas.
Mind you, from Hollywood, California to Vegas, it's 4 hours. Okay, it's not like it's 20 minutes up the road from these guys, right? So being excited about going to Vegas after midnight, that's a hard sell right there.
They're on the highway and they get to Vegas. They start seeing the lights. They get in downtown, start hearing big band music, the sights, all the lights of Vegas. And they get to the casino.
Trent gives the valet a tip, and they walk in. Mind you, it's after midnight, and there is a bunch of septuagenarians out and about gambling right now, okay? Okay. There is everybody's grandparents that are playing right now. Mike goes, could we not have went to down there at Caesar's Palace to the good Vegas on the Strip and everything? And Trent's like, no, baby, this is where they is. They're gonna treat us like kings here, right?
Kings.
And you see them just, the camera starts panning around. There's nobody below the age of 50 at this entire casino, right?
Oh, man. So they kind of talking about they're playing, they're trying to win some money. They're trying to get laid. They're going to meet some ladies, have a good night. They're dressed to look like they're high rollers. They want this casino to give them stuff for free because they look like high rollers. They want them to treat them good. So they go to the first table, and and Mike's standing there, confused about what he's supposed to do. And he gets $300 out to get cashed in so he can play the table. And the guy takes his $300 and gives him 3 tokens back. He says, you got anything a little smaller? And apparently they're at $100 table, and he's just out of his league at that point, I think.
I liked it because he was trying to hand the dealer the money. And the dealer was like, put it on the table, sir. And he kept on getting aggressive. Sir, put it on the table. Sir, put it on the table. I can't take the money from your hand. Please put it on the table. So, Javi, as you know, I was in Vegas 2 years ago for our anniversary, and I did the same shit, man, at the blackjack table. I tried to hand this guy money from hand to hand, and he kept on yelling at me, like, put it on the table, put it on the table. And I didn't know, like, what that, like, I'm like, bro, I'm trying to play here. Like, this is how we exchange money. So
I guess it's security, right? That way the cameras, everybody can see what's going on. Like, he's not pocketing any money.
Exactly.
That's funny. He loses $200 at that table, basically, is what happens.
Well, Trent, he gets 5 and a 6. He's playing blackjack.
Yeah.
He gets a 5 and a 6. Trent tells him to double down. Right?
Double down.
You always double down on 11, right?
Yep.
And he loses his money really quick.
I think he ends up with 18, and was it the dealer had 21?
Yep, exactly.
Lost $200. But then we see him flash over to the low stakes table.
Oh yeah, they're at the low stakes table, and this grandmother wins and gets his free breakfast, and you can see the look on Trent and Mike's face, like, damn, that's our free breakfast. What the hell? We're the high rollers here, right? There's also this waitress that they meet, this cocktail waitress, and she gets them a drink, but they kind of disappear. And she meets back up with them at the place where they cash out, and Mike only wins $20 from blackjack. So big high rollers after midnight here.
Yes, the waitress comes back around to him. She said, "I was carrying that scotch around for you for an hour, looking for you guys." So Trent starts flirting with her, but he's kind of pulling some a-hole moves on her. She walks off, and he tells Mike, "Come on, man, that's money. That's how we do it."
That's how we pull girls right there, right?
So after that exchange, I guess it works because Trent gets the waitress and tells her to bring one of her friends and meet him at the Bamboo Club.
Yeah, the Bamboo Club Lounge there. The one thing I do like about Trent here is Trent sees that Mike is down on his luck. He's sad about his breakup, even though it's been 6 months. He's just a really good hype man. He really is. He's the definition of the best hype man.
Yep.
He calls Mike money. He calls him like, you're the man. Like everything that Trent says is just to hype Mike up. And eventually you'll find out Trent's whole purpose is just to make sure that Mike is having a good time, man. If that's not a good friend, I don't know who is. You know what I mean? So,
So they go get some breakfast at a little restaurant there. And they're sitting in the booth just talking back and forth about what's going on. And Trent's telling Mike, you got to get off that respect kick. There's nothing wrong with letting these girls know that you're money and you want to party. The whole time Mike's sitting there worried about what time it is and them being late to go meet the girls.
Yeah. So the waitress at the restaurant comes up and Trent's like egging Mike on, like, go ahead, man. Throw some moves at her. Throw some moves. You can just tell, right, in their body language and everything. So Mike kind of gets up and he's just like, hey, I like to eat this. And then he like starts flirting with her and she does not bite at all and walks away. And Mike is like, oh my God, that was such a dumb move, right? So you can see like Mike is very not sure of his skills. He's, was in that long-term relationship, and now that he's out of it, he's back in the game of trying to flirt and date and everything. And you got Trent, who's just like the ultimate hype man, the ultimate cool guy by his side. I don't know if it's the best team up, but it's what Mike has here. So
they head out to the Bamboo Club, and they get there a little late. They meet Christy and Lisa, the waitress, and her friend from the casino, and they tell her, well, we were starting to wonder if you were going to show up. and her friend Lisa's dressed as Dorothy
from Wizard of Oz. Yep.
She's got makeup on and the pigtails and everything. And Mike makes a lame joke. He says, well, guess we're not in Kansas anymore.
And nobody laughs.
Nobody laughs. They just stare at him.
So they start talking. There's a little exposition, a little conversation going on, and Mike talks that he is a comedian, and Lisa seems really interested about his representation, and trying to find out whose representation is in LA and in California. And he goes, oh, well, it's more, I'm from back east. He goes, oh, who's your representation back east? And he goes, well, I'm kind of freelance right now, right? Right? Yeah. He's just trying to dodge the question altogether. Mind you, these guys are LA working actors and comedians and everything, trying to get gigs. So they're basically unemployed right now. So
it's funny, every time they talk to a girl, they don't expect them to ask more questions. So every time they fumble over their career and how well they're doing.
So they turn to Trent. Hey, Trent, what do you do? I'm a producer. And they're just like, ooh, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
And you can just see the frustration oozing from Mike's face. Like, he's just like, why the hell did that just work for you, man?
Yeah.
So
Trent's got that confidence, man.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
So there's a little more conversation in there, and they end up all going back to Christy's place. Christy's place is Airstream.
Oh, yeah.
She's got an Airstream in like a little campground or something like that. So they're in there talking and drinking, and Trent tells them a rather long audition story. And then they move on to Trent getting the tour of the Airstream.
Christy goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the tour." Right? They're in the Airstream, so they go. I love how Christy and Trent just get up and go straight to the bed, close the blind, the thing, and obviously start making out and trying to go after it.
Well, this is a part that shows you, what Trent's about for the night. So he stops what he's doing with her, and he's like, "I need to check on my boy."
Yeah.
So he pulls the little like folding wall door thing open and peeks in, and it looks like him and Lisa are making out. So he closes the door like real proud and goes back to what he was doing.
This is the first instance we see Trent as like a proud papa for Mike, right? This is a reoccurring theme throughout the movie.
So what's actually going on is Mike's actually talking to Lisa about his ex. So they're like face to face where it looks like they're kissing, but he's actually telling her, about her and how he misses her and wants her to be happy and all this stuff.
Yep.
And Lisa's trying to talk to him about, you might still have a chance. The guy she's with is probably her rebound guy. So then he gets kind of emotional and he's like, "I need to check my messages." So he's like, "I got a calling card, so it won't charge you guys anything."
Right. And the place where the phone is in the bedroom where Christy and Trent are hooking up right now.
Yeah.
So he goes to the back of the Airstream and starts there's not a door, so he starts knocking like around something hard. He's like, "Hey Trent, I gotta check my messages. And Trent hears him, but you just see like Trent's hand and he has a condom. He goes like a proud papa moment. His hands on the condom. Mike's like, no, I gotta check my messages. He's like, "What?" So like Trent finally comes to and like realizes like this is really happening right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got these, like, you can just tell on Trent's face, we got these two beautiful babies. Yeah. I'm in the middle of something. You should be. I thought you were, and you want to check your messages.
So they both, Christy and Trent, come out of the back room, and like Christy's in like Trent's shirt, and Trent's just in a towel. He just got a towel around his waist. And so the three of them, Christy, Lisa, and Trent, are sitting on the couch. Mike checks his messages, comes out and says, "She didn't call." And then both of the girls comfort him while Trent sits on the couch in his towel.
And you can just tell, like, Trent, once again, ultimate hype man, but just frustrated, flustered, and amazed that they both had a sure thing right here, and Mike messed it up.
So they leave the girls, and we see them on the side of the road, and Trent's peeing just on the side of the interstate. Guess that's a 96 thing.
I guess so. That's not good. That's not good in 2020, but
that gets you on the list nowadays.
Yes.
So they're talking. Mike apologizes for what happened, and Trent's like, "You know what? I didn't really like her anyways." They're in the car talking, and Trent's trying to, hype Mike up again. Mike's, depressed again. He's talking about his ex and this, that, or the other. And he's just being a hype man for him.
We also find out that Mike's ex is with somebody else right now. He's like some lawn jockey or something like that. So Trent hyping him up and saying, she's not, this guy's not better than you. She's no good for you anyway, man. So I just like to see that Trent is just such a great friend who wants Mike to be happy and upbeat and forget about his ex. Like, that's also another reoccurring theme throughout the movie. So
they hit the road back to LA, another 4-hour drive.
Fun stuff.
So next scene, we see Mike and Rob on the golf course.
Yeah.
They're walking and talking about work, and Rob starts talking about how he is trying to get a part as Goofy. He's like, could have been, Mickey, anybody else, but it's Goofy.
They're on this par 3 course, which is a pitch and a putt for all my golfers out there, right? It's not really difficult at all. You can just tell these guys are trash at golf, right? Just absolutely the worst. Now, mind you, I started about 9-10 months ago golfing, but I'm even good on a damn par 3. These guys were just horrible. But they're talking, they're relaxing and having a good time and catching up. Looks like they haven't seen each other in a few days or something. It's fun. It's definitely a fun scene.
And something at the end of that, the scene when they were on the side of the road too, forgot to mention, is Mike decides he's not going to talk about his ex anymore.
Yes.
That was something I forgot to mention. So we hear that in this scene. He's talking to Rob, and he says, "I didn't mention her all day." Rob says, "I wasn't going to bring it up."
Right. And at this point, they're on the putting green, and they're literally like inches away from trying to make these putts, and they cannot. So when they finally make it, they go, "How many was that for you?" They're like 9. Oh, I got an 8, right?
He starts counting. He's just counting so many spots that they hit. Terrible.
Gosh.
So at this point, Mike also mentioned he's ready to get back out there. He's ready to start, having some fun again. A little later that night, they're at I assume it's Trent's. Is it Trent's place?
Not really sure if it's Trent's or Sue's place.
Doesn't really say which is which, but they're both always there. Every scene that's at this house, it's Trent and Sue, no matter what.
Yeah.
Did a little research. I think they were playing NHL '96.
Oh yeah,
Sega. I think that's what that was.
Sega.
So this place is like a frat house. There's horseplay and just like teenage boys would be doing, wrestling with each other, just shit talking, everything you can think of. Drinking beers, just everything. This is just a funny scene. They get some pizza or some food delivered, and while Mike's at the door getting delivery, they start asking a bunch of questions. They're like, what does he look like? Is he clean? What color is he? Stuff like that. And just embarrassing Mike while he's handing this guy money. They ask him if he wants to come in, they can come hang out and stuff like that.
So they start drinking and eating and having a good time and continue playing NHL '96. And they talk about a party. Mike invited his buddy from back east, Rob. So they all decide to go to this party. They go to this bar, and this big band and swing music is playing everywhere, and they're definitely having a good time. They go to the bar and order some drinks. Rob comes up, having a good time, and then they meet Charles, and they discuss not getting a pilot deal, and that they're going to some party in the hills, right? So this is more of the unemployed working class actors in LA. Might I add, guys, there was this mid-90s Hollywood swing revival where big band music and talking the way they did back in the 50s was. This has been a revival during this time, so this is what this movie kind of encompasses. Very cool.
Yeah, so they lay their schedule out for the night. The party's starting at 8, so they're going to the bar at 10. At 11, they're going to meet the boys and grab something to eat, and they'll get to the party at midnight.
Yep.
So like I said, they talk with Charles about their roles and start talking about Rob tells him, I might be taking this role as Goofy, and he says, well, at least it's Disney. And then Charles says his line that he says throughout the movie.
This place is dead anyway, man. Yeah. It's the typical, I love it. Such a great line. So this next scene is just the guys around a table. Looks like they're drinking, hanging out. We don't know if they're playing cards or whatever, but they're definitely just having a good time. And they're talking about movies, right? Reservoir Dogs, Scorsese movies, and just kind of the camera's going around Robin as they're all talking. This is a really quick scene, but it's really cool, though.
Mm-hmm. Then we get this cool-ass slow-mo walk through in the alley.
This shot is like directly out of Reservoir Dogs, actually, man, where they're all walking. It's in slow-mo. It's like, did you pull this straight from Quentin Tarantino? Mind you, in Sue or Trent's apartment when they're playing NHL, there's a poster of Reservoir Dogs. So like this is their movie. This is their style. So
they do the slow-mo walk. They get to their cars, and it's like a big convoy. Each person gets in their own car. So I think it was like six deep, something like that. Yep. And they drive to the party, and they're driving with within feet of each other this whole way. And they also they close their doors like in a sequence as well. It starts with at the front with Trent, and each one closes their door all the way back like they trained for this moment or something like that.
Yeah, this is a really dope scene that was put together.
So they pull up to the party, like I said, 6 cars deep, and they walk in, and as soon as they get the front door of the house, everybody looks at them.
It's really awkward. Like the music stops, everybody just looks at them. And then a few seconds later,
and stuff, not the same guys that are like at the bar and stuff like that. This is a completely different scene.
So they enter the party and they start splitting up and start thinking about all their tactics and everything. And Rob is trying to ask why Sue is named Sue. And Mike says that something about his dad named him after a Johnny Cash song, a Boy Named Sue. And Rob's like, oh, okay. They start going through all the different liquor that's over there.
They start talking about how Sue's crazy too, right?
Yeah. He's a little wild, right? I guess if you have the name Sue, you gotta back it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're talking about their tactics and how they're gonna be picking up girls for their night. So this little scene is Trent and Sue. They're kind of standing in a corner next to some stairs, and Trent keeps looking at Stu, and he's like, "Is she looking at me yet?" And Sue looks over at this girl. He's like, "No, he's not. She's not looking at you." And he does that about 3 times. He's like, "Is he looking at me yet?" He's like, "No." He says, "Oh, damn, she's looking at you now." He's like, "Yeah, there we go.
On the other side of the party, Mike and Rob are talking, and this guy walks up to Mike and calls him Big Mike, and they talk for a few minutes. We pan back out to Sue and Trent with the "she's looking at me, no, she's looking at me, no" scene. And then they go back to Mike, and Rob is like, "Who is that guy?" Mike's like, "I have absolutely no clue who that guy is." Right? Like,
I've been there, man. We've all been there.
Oh yeah, man, I'll hit you up next week, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was at all. Well, Rob messed up. He should have introduced himself. That way, the guy would have said his name. We all know that's how you do it.
That's exactly how you do it. So, rookie mistake. Mind you, Rob's only been out there for a month or so now. So, he doesn't know how they do at the LA Lights. So.
Yeah. So Mike gets up the courage to go talk to a girl. She looks like a model. She's just chilling, smoking a cigarette. He starts talking to her, and she says, "What kind of car do you drive?" She says, "What? What kind of car do you drive?" Mike says, "Red Cavalier."
Oh man, I love this scene.
Oh, she brushes him off. He drives a Cavalier. He ain't gonna get nowhere with that.
Not at all. So
not at that party, anyways.
So they meet up with Sue and Trent as Trent is still trying to make his big play with this cigar girl that's looking at him, not looking at him. Right? Trent's like, "Damn, I got to go up to her now because Mike looked at her." So
he's got to go in early.
So Trent goes in, and we see a shot of the guys just like watching the master at play, right? He starts talking to her, and she is talking his ear off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nonstop about her whole life and how she became an wannabe actress and all this stuff. And it's cool. The Jaws music starts, and it just gets louder and louder, and you see that's taking over the conversation because you can't even hear her anymore. All you hear is this loud Jaws music.
Yeah.
And then eventually you see Trent walk away with her number, flash it to the guys. When she can't see it, he actually rips up her number.
Yeah. Mike doesn't like that too much. He's like, that's it's kind of rude and cold.
So the 4 guys are back together, and they're talking a little bit. And then a few moments later, Charles meets up with the guys, and they decide to go to the next party. Charles goes, "Yeah, this place is dead anyway."
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break.
While we're on this break, we wanted to take a moment and thank our listeners. Thank you all for subscribing and listening to Movie in a Pod.
And we want to engage with you a lot more on all of our cinematic adventures. So Movie in a Pod now has a Facebook page.
Let's discuss recent trailers, favorite movies, and what's coming down the pipeline for all of our viewing pleasure. Sicario,
Men in Black,
Casino Royale,
Big,
Leprechaun,
Halloween,
Zoolander,
Crazy Stupid Love,
and our guilty pleasure, Never Back Down.
Don't forget, we are also on Twitter and Instagram at Movie in a Pod.
Let's chat about movies, guys.
All right, we are back. So we left the house party. The guys hit their convoy once again. The convoy hit the road. They're on their way to their next place, still driving, a couple feet behind each other. We see a scene of them just cruising down. Looks like Main Street, just cruising. And
basically bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper, dude. Can't. If anybody slams on the brakes, it's accidents. So they're heading to the Dresden. They pull into the parking lot, and all this stuff is just like choreography. They pull into the parking lot. They all park exactly the same time. And then they all put the club on their steering wheel, right?
Oh, the 90s club, man.
Club, anti-theft.
Both of my parents had the club, man.
So they go to the Dresden. It's like a restaurant, live music place, and there's some live music going on. There's a guy playing some drums, a lady playing keyboard, and we hear Rob complaining some more to Charles about his role as Goofy. As they're sitting at a booth, and there's kind of the camera's panning around to each of them, and Trent and Sue are looking at a couple of girls sitting at the table. I think Trent says, "Looks like some babies got out of school early today."
Right. Trent, as much of a good friend he is to Mike, he is kind of the creep of the movie at the same time. The way he is with these ladies and what he says. So
Mike gets up from the booth and he goes up to the bar, and he steps up beside this lady, and he's trying to get him a drink, and the bartender keeps passing by him. And the girl starts laughing at him for not being able to get a drink. So they start talking, and she waves the bartender over. Apparently she's a regular there. Her name's Nikki, from what the bartender says. And Mike starts talking to her and acts like he's a big shot comedian in the area.
Yeah, this is a great scene, guys, where Mike is out there and he's trying to flirt and talk to girls, and he's talking to Nikki, and she's like, "Don't I remember you from somewhere?" And Mike's like, "Oh, yeah, you've probably seen me, at some clubs or whatever." And she goes, "No, remember you from Starbucks.
Yeah.
You ordered an espresso." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, that's my drink." I mean, how many people in the world order espressos? Let's be honest, right? He sopped that right up. He was like, "Oh, yeah, that was me. I'm the espresso guy." And she goes, "Yeah, you came in and was looking to get hired, and I wanted you to meet my manager." And he goes, "No, that definitely was." So his plan just backfired.
Yeah. So he just kind of picks himself up from that embarrassment, and he leaves the bar, and he goes and stands over with Trent and Sue, and he says, "Just made a total fool of myself."
Yeah. Trent as the ultimate hype man, and Sue is working as well. Yeah. They're like, "Man, you're so money, bro. You're so money you don't even know, man. Don't let it get you down, bro. Let's go." They're just hyping Mike
so much
up.
Encouragement, man. So much encouragement from his boys.
So they tell him to be more aggressive with girls, kind of like them. And I don't really know how to describe this monologue from Trent Vince Vaughn, but it's intense though.
He's like, "You got fangs, you got claws, you got the little rabbit. You're just beating the rabbit. You don't know what to do with it. You don't know what to do with it." Yeah, it's fantastic here. And he ends up telling them, basically summing up his whole monologue. He says, "Don't be PG-13. Don't be the guy that everyone likes." He says, "Be rated R. And be that guy that they're not sure if you like them yet or not. Kind of mysterious." So Mike walks up to the bar and takes another shot with Nikki. And as he's walking back to the table, he shows him his the napkin with their number on it. And he acts like he's going to rip it up like Trent did. And he's like, "Nah, I'm just kidding."
So Mike sits down with the guys and asks how long to call her, and they discuss how long to call. And every guy has their own different rule. Javi, growing up, right? Middle school, high school, like early adulthood and everything. Basically before we were married, right? What was the standard time after you got a number to call a girl?
It was a couple of days.
Yeah. I always had a 2-day waiting period. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it backfired.
You know,
So.
sometimes it backfired. Sometimes somebody else called her on day one. You know, it happens. You know, she may have gave her number to a few different guys at the skating rink. You don't know what happened. You run around the whole night, you know. So.
Oh man, good times at the skating rink. Gosh.
So they're sitting around the booth. They're discussing this, like you said, and Sue and Trent start talking about, you know, Mike needs to wait 2 days. That's industry standard, you know. Trent says, you know, 2 days is good, you know, but everybody's doing 2 days now, so I think 3 days is money. And Mike's like, okay, well, why don't I just wait like 2 weeks then and just find her number in my clothes. And I'll call her and ask her, you know, if, you know, what she looked like and, you know, if we hooked up. And Mike says, so how long are y'all guys going to wait to call your babies? And Sue and Trent at the same time say 6 days.
Oh man.
It's so good.
So they go ahead and all decide to leave the Dresden after a little bit of time. And as they're walking out, these guys are walking and bumps into Sue. Sue calls the guy bitch, and then they're yelling back and forth at him. You see Trent, Mike, and the other guys are like, what the hell is happening right now? Right? Like, let's just get the hell out of here.
Yeah, they're just name calling. That's all they're doing at this point.
And Sue pulls this pistol out of his pants out of nowhere, and the guys that bumped into him just run off, right?
Yeah, nobody knew Sue was packing all night.
The Sue, Mike, and the other guys start yelling at him, like trying to see what the hell you got this gun for, and they're calling him an asshole. Charles, you know, cool, laid back guy, he's like, man, I'm just gonna fall back, guys.
Yeah, Mike says that, you ever seen Boys in the Hood? Now one of us is gonna get shot. Right?
Yep. Rob leaves, and so it's just Mike, Sue, and Trent, and they're both yelling at Sue about his gun. And
Yeah.
Sue's like, man, you're not from around here, man. You didn't grow up over here, right?
Said, you live in a nice neighborhood, Sue.
Mike's like, dude, you're from Anaheim, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on. So Trent and Mike, they really continue to yell at him, say he doesn't need to carry a gun. Sue eventually calls Mike a bitch and says that he's going to like mess up everything with the girl that he got the number from. And so Mike just decides, he's pissed off, tired, just decides to leave. Trent tells Sue to shut up and leave Mike alone.
Yeah.
And actually tells Sue to shut up multiple times, which is like he puts him in his place, man.
So we see Mike get home. He walks into his apartment and he checks his answer machine, and he still has no message. Takes a seat on the couch for a little bit, and he's just kind of pondering about what's going on. And he decides he's going to call Nikki. It's like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so Mike leaves Nikki a message and says that he had a great time. Call him later. Starts to leave his number, and he gets the number all the way through, and then you hear the beep like the recording ended. So he doesn't think that she got the whole number, so he calls right back, leaves another long message, and tries to leave his phone number at the end, and it goes beep, so it cuts off. So he calls back a third time and just leaves his number. He walks away from his answering machine, his phone, and comes right back in the frame and leaves her another message, right?
This is where he's telling her, he calls her and says, okay, you know, just to let you know, I was in a 6-year relationship that I just got out of, and starts trying to explain, you know, why he's like he was on the other messages.
Right. He hangs up, calls back, leaves another voicemail, just trying to fully explain himself, right?
And then he kind of breaks up with her, right? Like one of the messages is like, it's like, I don't think this is gonna work out.
Oh man. This is my favorite scene of the entire movie, right? So he calls back and saying, this is not going to work out. I just, I don't think it's the right timing and everything. And she actually picks up the phone from the voicemail and she goes, Mike? He's like, oh, Nikki, hey, are you just now getting in, or have you heard this and was here the entire time? And she does not respond to his question and goes, never call me again, and just hangs up. I love this scene because it's a total guy move where you don't know what to do, right? You don't know when you need to call her back. You don't know, you got to make sure you sound cool on phone as well. I had a friend growing up early in high school, Javi, you know him, and anytime he would leave a voicemail for a girl, he would make sure there was some like 95.1 radio in the background, right? Like set the mood for the voicemail. And I'm like, really, bro? Right?
If it got it done, it got it done. So yeah, he really goes through a whole roller coaster of emotions here. He starts out kind of confident, then gets kind of desperate, then starts panicking, and then gets sad.
Yeah.
Right? And he didn't even talk to her, but just for her to tell him not to call her anymore. Oh no, it's so sad. We think it's the next morning. It's actually 2 days later. Mike's sitting on the floor of his apartment, looking at old pictures and very depressed. Trent calls him, and that's where we hear Trent say, I ain't seen you in a couple of days. Let's go out tonight. Let's, go party. Let's look for some beautiful babies, the usual stuff.
And at this time, guys, Mike, like I said, Mike is wallowing in self-pity on the floor, looking at old pictures of him and his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, excuse me. And, he's kind of got the 5 o'clock shadow, so his facial hair is now grown out and everything. He's going through it right now. He's really sad because he struck out with this Nikki girl before it even began. So he gets a call from Rob. Rob leaves a message saying that he's downstairs. And then Mike lets Rob up.
Yeah, when he comes in the apartment, he first thing he does is hand him some OJ and gives him some food to eat because he probably hasn't eaten. He starts opening the blinds, letting some light in, and they start talking about what's going on and their kind of common story about their breakup with their exes. Rob also mentions that he now has a LA gun story from the other night with Sue. When he tells his friends back east, it's a Uzi,
it's a deeper story than what had actually happened. Mike tells Rob that he's thinking about moving back east. And this is where you see Mike and Rob really kind of connect with each other. Rob is telling him, man, it's all about perspective. Mike hosts an open mic night and played a bus driver in a movie. He's not doing good. Rob goes, man, you got to stop looking at it like that. You got to look at the things that you have, not the things that you don't have. Right? You want to put it in perspective. And then Rob even says, the reason why I'm out here is because of you, man, because you made it. Look things in a different perspective, right? This is a really good exposition scene between these two characters where you see their friendship and see how Rob kind of looks up to Mike and with all of his success right now.
Yeah, all through all that, he mentions to him, he says, why don't you call that Nikki girl from the other night as well? Mike says he's talking about their exes and stuff like that, and he asks, why hasn't she called me? Then we find out that Mike's actually one that left.
Yeah.
He left her, and Rob says, he does a little backhand comment. He says, I love her to death, but F her. You deserve better.
That's right. So we jump to the next scene, and it's Mike showing up at, once again, we don't know if it's Sue's or Trent's apartment. It could be both of theirs for all we know. And Mike comes in, clean cut, dressed nice, and they're playing NHL hockey with the guys that Sue pulled a gun on. This is a really intense scene.
Yeah, Sue says, everything's good to go now. We're fine. He apologizes to Mike as well for the other night with pulling the gun on everybody.
Sue and Trent met up with the guys that he pulled the gun on at a Chicken and Waffles, and they apologized to each other.
Yeah,
he bought them all food, and they're all good now. And they're actually really cool guys.
Yeah, and at the end of the scene, Trent tells Mike, why don't you call Nikki to see if she wants to come meet up with us tonight?
So this is twice now. It's kind of like a rubbing it in his face, right? They don't know exactly what happened. I hope Mike never shares that story with anybody ever.
So we see him showing up to the nightclub they're going to, and they're walking around. There's a huge line to get in, so they just bypass the line and go around the back. They know everybody. They go in the back. They're walking through the kitchen. They're walking through like some storage rooms and all this stuff. And then they get into the bar, and it's another big band playing, swing dancing going on. Pretty awesome place is what it looks like.
It looks like a fun spot, man. Everybody's having a good time here.
Yeah. They post up at the booth like they do at every spot they go to, and we start seeing them progress through the night. They're drinking a bunch. These girls start showing up to the booth that they're talking to. It just keeps escalating from there.
Yeah, I really like this scene. This scene really does encompass the whole mid-90s swing revival in LA. There's people even dressed as they would, right, when swing dancing was first really popular in the 50s, and that's kind of the style that everybody's going for. Trent and Sue have their girls that they're talking to, and Mike kind of feels and looks like a fifth wheel there.
Yeah, he gets up and heads over to the bar to get a drink, and he sees Lorraine. Well, we don't know her name yet, but he sees beautiful Heather Graham
Yes.
across the bar.
And they lock eyes. Well, no, this is actually really cool. Did you notice that at this scene, he's looking at her, and before she actually locks eyes with him, it's a cool scene. So you see Mike, and he's looking at her, but then the camera's on Mike looking at her, and then you look back at her, and it's actually a bunny rabbit. Did you notice that? That's at the bar? Yes. I've seen this movie like a million times. And I just realized that falls back to the story of what Trent was saying, right?
Okay. No, I'll have to check that out. I didn't notice that. So this is also cool too. We flash over to Trent and Sue. They're kind of like getting closer to each other watching Mike, and they're real excited about Mike talking to this girl at the bar.
They ultimately like forget about the girls that are at their booth with them. And they kind of cuddle up with each other, and they're just proud dads right now. They're just that proud papa moment right now. He's about to make his move.
So Mike and Lorraine are talking, discussing advantages of being single, amongst other things, about being single and being there at the bar with nobody. And she asks him to dance. And at the same time, we flash back over to Trent and Sue again, and they're getting smashed at the booth. Just watching Mike and Lorraine, just so happy for him.
Yeah, they're pretty drunk at this point. You can just see how proud that they are. And Mike and Lorraine, they're slow dancing to this number and having a good time and really intimate. And right after this number ends, Mike kind of just awkwardly starts to walk away, but the music starts picking up into a fast number. And Lorraine kind of clutches his hand and will not let him leave the floor. So Mike kind of takes her hand, and they start dancing. They start dancing slow at first. And then, oh my God, totally did not expect this from Jon Favreau, Mike. But the guy has some swing dancing skills, okay?
Yeah, he was tossing around, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was a great scene. It looked like he was panicking a little bit right when it started picking up. He was looking around like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And he just starts going, just starts throwing around, leading the dance, and and then Trent's in the booth, pretty much crying, like so proud, so happy.
He is sobbing like it's his son's graduation right now.
Mike walks Lorraine to her car, and he tells her, he wants to do this again. She said, I'll be around, and he mans up and says, it's not going to be good enough. I want to make plans with you. They exchange numbers. They do some talking back and forth, and she hops in her car and takes the club off the wheel and gets ready
that
to
old
leave.
club. Right. So this is cool. We see the maturation of Mike through this, where he has he has matured. He has a lot more skills now, right? He has more confidence with himself, with talking to the beautiful babies, as Trent would say, and just definitely going after what he wants. He was really aggressive and saying, no, we got to make this happen now, and gets her number. I thought that was really cool.
This goes to the conversation with Rob at the beginning of the movie, basically getting to that point to where he's starting to forget about his ex. So he's starting to forget about her, and now he's attracted to this girl. So Sue, Trent, and Mike go to a diner, the same diner they go to through the whole movie. And Trent and Sue are smashed. Trent's acting out. He's being an ass in this place. And they start talking. They find out that Mike actually took ballroom dancing lessons with his ex. That's how he knew how he's dancing. He said, I haven't danced with anybody else since her.
So that kind of explains why, he was a little apprehensive at first to start like dancing, but then kind of picks it up. And I must say, he definitely does kill that shit, man. That was a fun scene. Mm-hmm. Trent, as drunk as he is, still the hype, man. Talk about how great Mike was on the dance floor and that Lorraine definitely likes him. And Trent makes a big deal that Mike is finally grown up, right?
Our baby's all grown up.
Trent is drunk on the diner table, swinging his jacket around and saying that my baby boy is all grown up, right? And he's like, I'm never coming back to this diner. I don't even like this diner, right? He's just drunk off his ass. I love it.
So Mike gets back to his apartment, and he's got Lorraine's number out, and he's thinking about calling her. He doesn't. He puts the number on his answer machine. We come to the next morning, he wakes up, and he's thinking about
Yeah.
calling her. He doesn't call her again. He takes that card and pins it to his calendar 2 days later so he can remember to call her. At the same time, he gets a call from his ex.
Michelle.
She's talking to him and tells him that, she thinks about him every day and she misses him and this, that, or the other. And then he gets a call waiting beep, right? Takes the call, and it's Lorraine on the other end, and he actually flips back to his ex and says, I gotta go. I gotta take this other call.
Yeah, his ex Michelle, she's missing him and wanting, longing for him and everything, and says, reason why I'm calling is because I heard you're looking to move back east. And once he finds out Lorraine's on the other line, comes back to Michelle and is like, nope, that's not true, and says that he'll call her later, and then jumps back over to Lorraine and has a conversation with her. Yeah. And Mike is cheesing at this point, right? He's definitely enjoying this conversation with Lorraine.
Yeah, when he took the call from his ex, you could see he seemed more sad than anything. And then as soon as it was Lorraine, there was a big smile. Big smile.
Oh, yeah.
So then we go to breakfast. Trent's back. They're at the same place they were the night before. Him and Trent. Trent's obviously hungover. Mike's explaining to Trent that he hung up on his ex and didn't even think about calling her back.
Yep. And then Trent's trying to figure out, what was the whole purpose and why. And Mike is about to break it down, how he's changed, and about to give Trent a philosophy. And Trent interrupts him because he thinks that this girl a couple of moves down is flirting with him. So we get a shot of this girl, and she's doing the baby goo goo gaga, and Trent's like, I'm going to eat this up, and I'm going to start playing peekaboo and stuff like that.
She wants to play little baby games with me.
Baby games with me there. So we just seen it from the perspective of Trent, right? So we don't know what this girl's doing, and it looks like from the camera angle that she's definitely flirting back with him. So he's flirting with her, or at least he thinks he is. A few moments later, she picks up a baby and leaves the diner.
He just puts his head down and looks down at the seat while she walks by. He's kind of embarrassed for himself.
So he wants to change the subject real quick and be like, well, what was going on with that phone call? Why did you flip back between Michelle and Lorraine? And that's the end. The end credits start rolling, guys. Yeah. Javi, Swingers, 1996, man. Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn. Talk to me. What'd you think?
So I told you, I had probably seen this movie a while back, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. Remembered bits and pieces of it, but going back and watching it, man, it still holds up.
Yeah.
Still a great movie, still, I'd say, somewhat relevant as to how, men think these days in that stage of their life. Yeah. But yeah, held up, man. I enjoyed it.
Good deal. How many buckets of popcorn do you give it?
I actually give this one a 5 out of 5.
That's what I'm talking about right there. All right.
Like I said, relatable movie, fun with the budget they had, man. These actors had to really, really do good on the dialogue and all that to make it happen. I really enjoyed it.
Good deal there. Yeah, man, I'm going to agree with you. I definitely give this movie 5 buckets of popcorn. As far as a movie with a low budget but with great acting, this definitely takes the cake. You get great performances out of Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau with the direction that they went in with this low budget film, right? It's like you said, it's really relevant to guys throughout their whole life. How do we as guys deal with breakup? How do we deal with, getting over that? The friends that are in our lives that are helping us get over that, right? Those are themes that will be here forever. That maturation process of growing up, growing older, and understanding that, there is other fish in the sea, like his answer machine tried to tell him in the beginning. So
the big thing about it is the guys Mike's surrounded with. If he was surrounded by other people who didn't give a shit, then he would just stay in his apartment. Big head nod to making sure you have good friends around you as well.
Oh, yeah.
Hype men.
Gotta have the hype man. You gotta have your Trent. You gotta have your Trent to say you're so money you don't even know, baby.
That's so money. Fantastic.
Definitely enjoyed this movie here. Awesome. Guys, that was our conversation dissection of the 1996 indie classic Swingers. Please let us know what you think. Next up on the pod, we are going to look at Kong Skull Island from a few years ago. So be on the lookout for that in your inbox here soon, guys. Once again, my name is Clyde Smith, and you can find me on Twitter as I am Clyde D. Smith.
I'm Javier Villalobos. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. J8200.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Leadership used to mean having all the answers, but today's best leaders embody a more human approach.
I'm Jack Myers.
And I'm Tim Spangler.
Tim and I have spent our careers inside media, marketing, and culture.
And we partnered with the Acast Creator Network to start Lead Human to answer one simple question. What does it really look like to lead in this AI-dominated world?
The biggest tip for being a creator, it's a job.
What I learned from Michael Jackson, here's a man who understands precision.
It's about answering the questions that are hard, not about answering a bunch of teed-up questions that are fake.
What we're looking for are real stories and practical advice that you can use with your teams right away.
Subscribe to Lead Human with Jack Myers and Tim Spangler wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, I'm Pace Case.
And I'm Bachelor Clues.
We host Game of Roses, the world's best reality TV podcast. We're covering every show in reality TV at the highest level possible. We analyze The Bachelor, Love is Blind, Perfect Match, Vanderpump, and anything else you find yourself watching with wine and popcorn.
We break down errors, highlight plays, MVPs, and all the competitive elements that make reality TV a sport. And we interview superstar players like Bachelorette Caitlin Bristow and Big Brother champion Taylor Hale.
If you want to know so much about reality TV, you can turn any casual conversation into a PhD level dissertation. You definitely want to check out Game of Roses.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.